This morning on AMHQ, we've got some rain for the rush hour. Here we go. Already some thunder, lightning, and heavy rain, but we're tracking storms across the south that could turn severe later today.
Especially with the atmosphere today. Jen?
All right, well, let's talk about the snow, because some of that gets sort of wrapped, the moisture gets wrapped up into the northeast, the energy gets wrapped up into the northeast, and we're going to end up with another big snowstorm again in New England. It starts across western New York today. We've got snow out there right now in Buffalo. We look out there, temperatures running a little above the freezing mark, 34 degrees. Snow boots, you will need them here in the Buffalo area. Finally, you've had no snow on the ground right now. We're running 17 inches below average since December 1st in Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, if you like snow, you could use a little bit of it, and we are getting that actually right now. Some light snow, you know, maybe an inch or two kind of snowfall through today. Could get another inch or two through tonight across western New York. But then watch what happens. Now, everything coming together. Again, we're going to see our low off the coast, gain some energy from our system moving through the Great Lakes, and that will strengthen. That will again be a very strong low pressure, making the wind whip up again across parts of Maine into certainly it's getting into the Canadian Maritimes as well. Now, watch what happens first, though. Tonight, we're going to get these south winds that bring up some of the warmer air. We'll get that coastal front to set up. In Portland, for us, we start as rain, then we mix over to snow. We change over to snow with that cold air, and the more time you spend in snow, Portland, the more snow you're going to get. Inland areas should be mostly all snow, and so that will keep us, of course, getting the bigger totals in inland areas, wrapping up by tomorrow night. So overnight tonight will be, I think, some of the biggest snow amounts coming down into early tomorrow morning, ending up with more than a foot of snow up there in interior parts of Maine. Now we go down to Boston, and you saw that south wind. It's going to make our temperatures a little more mild. It's going to mean that, you know, it takes a while for us to change over to any snow, but we finish things out with snow overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, getting an inch or two of snow in town, a little more north of town. Again, rain overnight tonight, but then those temperatures dropping right below the freezing mark, and we get a little bit of snow in Boston. All right, meanwhile, we're asking, where's winter in the Midwest, Reynolds? Where we saw over land, actually. Let's show you a much quieter weather pattern in the southern plains. Things are looking much better in Houston. We got that north wind out there, bringing in the drier air. Dallas, 44 degrees. Dallas, you have yet to hit 32 this month. We have not seen a below freezing temperature at all this month, and obviously you're not doing it this morning, even behind the cold front. Today we go back to up to near average. 61 degrees in Dallas, will be in the mid-50s farther north. All right, and then the trend is warming up. Houston, we're back to the 80s again. Take a look. Today will be in the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow as well. Next chance of storms comes in quickly on Friday, but then right back to low 80s by Saturday. The trend continues. We sort of alluded to it's moving today, so things are moving out like yesterday. Actually, it's not like you're in it all day when storms hit. Then when they're done, they're done.
Right, and what's good about all this is by the time the evening commute rolls around, I think for most people, we're going to be done and through here. But here's the line right here. So that's our starting point. So everything's got to happen from this point on east. There's a storm to the south of Atlanta right now that looks kind of interesting. There's the water vapor concentration with this thing. But you can see this big jet kind of diving in on the backside of this, Jen, getting ready to push this.
I mean, that's where the strongest winds are up there. There's a decent jet a little further south, but I mean, that's where the stronger winds enforcing is.
Right. So
not
Atlanta,
matching up exactly.
Yeah, Atlanta, you're just kind of dealing with the wet roads this morning as most of this is kind of pushed on through, but out I-20. This will be something to watch as it's coming across 85 now, making its way toward Macon a little bit later on. That's starting to increase in intensity. It's got that little hook shape. All right, so that there's a little change in wind direction with height going on. It's not a supercell yet, but it's certainly something that could be one, certainly if it grows in time. So something to watch. Here's North Georgia. We'll take whatever we can get in terms of rainfall. Very, very, very low stream flows up and through here. That really tells the tale of the tape. It's not a super populated area, but it's one, if you're an outdoorsman, you just absolutely love to go up here. Well, you need more rainfall before we get into the spring. Hillsville, though, up to the north of the warm front, is definitely...
It is cold enough to get a little snow. I-77, look at this. Snow on the side of the road. The road looks all right, but no doubt there could be some slick spots.
Yeah,
and some of the side streets leading to the interstate, some little bridges.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the snow on the median, too, so it's definitely cold enough up in these elevations, even in North Georgia. So, interesting, North Carolina. Snow on the west side, severe threat here on the east side as we go on through the afternoon. That's just how it's going to shape up. So this area where nothing is happening just yet, dew points are starting to creep up, gaining, you know, a degree or so in the last hour. You got this higher moisture air coming in, and as this line moves into it, you're going to have a little daytime heating, too, to play. Yeah, so meanwhile, we're coming down in Atlanta, right? In terms of our dew points, you can see it starting to cool off there a little bit. So it's this little warm sector area that we'll be watching for you today. That's where our severe threat is. Our Torcon numbers 3 out of 10 chance. Not as robust yesterday in terms of the parameters that we have, and limited certainly to I think, Jen, until about 2 o'clock. I mean, 3 o'clock, and then that's it. I think
it's timing. The storms move off the coast. That's it. It's just that they run out of room. So mid-level winds strongest across this area. We'll see some turning of the winds with height, which will lead to that potential for rotating thunderstorms.
Right, and that already that signature around Macon tells me that you've got that going on. So 3 out of 10 chance. These two pieces of energy kind of helping each other out. This is the main piece in through here. This becomes yet another huge
big old low off
coastal
the coast.
Storm in the Gulf of Maine, with more snow.
This is your month, Maine. This is your month.
It really
February
is.
2017. Elsewhere, Reynolds, it hasn't really been cold enough to get a lot of snow. Like
for most of the southeast cities.
Everything moves on through. And then we turn our attention to the north and east, where already this morning, we're watching western New York, a little bit of snow out there this morning. When it comes together off the coast, then Winter Storm Pluto really gets going. So Boston, you are in the mix. Let's take a look out here, courtesy of EarthCam. You can see what a nice, beautiful morning we have, actually. Temperatures running about 29. I love how you can see the sun glint off the building there. So looking out over the Charles River, no big deal this morning in Boston. What you got to watch for is later today. We've got winter storm watches up just north of the Boston area. Warnings farther north, including the Portland area up towards Bangor, where we just are still probably cleaning up from our 4th snowiest snowstorm. We just had that from Orson. Now here we go, Bangor, and then down to Portland in between. Bigger snows coming in. Right now, the snow that you're seeing on the radar across western New York and down into Pennsylvania, it's just too mild to get a lot. Temperatures are 34, 35, even 40 down in Pennsylvania. But as we get the cold air to filter in, and it will, well, I think we'll see more accumulation, a couple inches today from western New York to Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and then overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. This is when our low really gets cranking off the coast. So Jim mentioned, what, Jim, 970?
968.
Strongest of the lows that we've seen just yet. We just had 3 storms, right? This is number 3 in a week. This one could be the strongest in terms of how strong that low pressure is. So that's going to mean wind. It's going to mean some banding of snow as well, and again picking up more than a foot in some areas. Concord, here we go again. Snow overnight tonight. Reynolds. Like temperatures causing plants to bloom early, and Jim and I were just looking at some of these pictures out here, admiring. Jim's naming everything as we watch these blooming plants. Another issue comes, of course, with spring allergies.
Big time spring allergies. So Dr. Stan Feynman joins us now to help get a jump start on combating those allergies. He's with the Atlantic Allergy Clinic. Thank you for joining us, sir. Let's talk about this. Again, no real big winter to kind of freeze things up. We're right into spring and stuff's blooming out. Is allergy season starting? The
clinic says that in general, February is the right time to go see your allergist. Why is that?
Dr. Feynman, I'm thinking this could be good and bad. Extending the season where you don't get super high pollen counts. What's worse, that or having a big burst all at once, like we've certainly seen in the past in the South?
Talk quickly about those treatment options over the counter. Do you go with allergy tablets or allergy shots?
Grass pollen allergy tablet.
Dr. Feynman, thank you for some advice. Again, tree pollen off the charts here. Guys, we got a little spoiler alert for you here.
So flooding is going to be one concern. Another concern will be debris slides, mudslides like this. I mean, it has been such a stormy season, right? And back-to-back-to-back storms on the West Coast continues to cause issues like this rock slide we saw around the Tahoe area. Route 50, this is where boulders just covered the roadway, shut it down for about a week. This road connects Carson City to South Lake Tahoe. Nevada DOT announcing last night that the road is finally back open. But let's talk about how debris slides and mudslides and landslides can happen. They're all a little bit different. A landslide is when literally the entire land gives way, and this is how it happens. You get a lot of rainfall. It actually penetrates completely through the soil until reaching that impenetrable layer. So basically, the ground gets lifted up by a layer of water underneath, and gravity gives way. It overcomes surface tension at some point, and gravity gives way. Of course, it depends on the slope of the land, how much rain, etc., what the use of the land has been. But eventually, this happens, and if this happens, it can be devastating. This can move at 60+ miles per hour, causing a lot of devastation in its path. Reynolds.
All right, Jen.